This
So
conference will now be recorded.
I'm going to call the January 28th, 2021 Thurston Conservation District Board of Supervisors Board meeting to order. Welcome everyone. For the record, with us this evening, we have board members Helen Wheatley, Doug Rushton, David Ayal, Betsy DeVreda, and myself, TJ Johnson. We have our executive director, Sir Moorhead. We have our legal counsel, Ben Cushman. And it looks like we have staff member Leah Kellogg. So welcome everybody. We're of course recording this, as we just heard, for posterity's sake and legal reasons. First, the next item on our agenda this evening is an agenda review. I'm proposing one change to the agenda, which is to add an item, a new item 8B, which should be representation to the Thurston Regional Planning Council. And we'll take the existing item 8B, the work session topic list, and make that 8C. Are there any other proposed changes from either board or staff to our agenda?
Mr. Chair, I'd suggest making that TCD representation at committee meetings focusing on the Regional Planning Council this time. So we set up a process for potential future other meetings.
Sorry, I got a phone call ringing in my ear, Doug, so I missed what you said. Could you repeat that? I mute my phone.
Yeah, I just said let's make it more general. TCD representation to committees, but this time focusing on the TRPC, because we're going to have this come up some other time too.
That's fine. We'll do that. That sounds good. Okay. If there are no other changes, I'd entertain a motion to approve our agenda as amended.
Also move.
Moved by Doug. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by David. Okay, all those in favor on our amended agenda motion. Doug?
Aye.
David?
Aye.
Helen?
Aye.
Betsy?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. We have an agenda. Next item on the agenda is our consent agenda. Tonight's consent agenda includes 4 items: the December 2020 board meeting minutes, the December 2020 and the annual or year 2020 year-end financial report, the 2021 annual plan, and the TCD policies and procedures manual. And of course, all of these items, except the financial reports, are things that we talked about at our work session several weeks ago. Is there a motion on the consent agenda?
I so move.
Moved by Betsy. Is there a second?
Sure, I'll second.
I'll second.
I think Helen got there first, so seconded by Helen. So roll call vote. Betsy?
Aye.
Helen?
Aye.
Doug?
Aye.
And David?
Aye.
And chair votes aye as well. We have approved our consent agenda. Next up is public comment. Time for members of the public to address the board. I don't believe we have any member of the public here this evening, but if so, this would be the time. Okay.
I think we have an objection.
Sorry?
Just a joke. I think we have an objection.
Yeah, that would be my unruly dog barking at deer. I'm sorry about that.
Or maybe it was a public comment.
Yeah, his comment is, why are you on a computer again? All right, we have no public comment this evening, so we'll move into partner reports. 5A was the State Conservation Commission. As we just heard, Jean won't be with us this evening and has nothing to report. We have item 5B, the WACD, and 5C, the NACD reports. We had written reports in our meeting packet. Doug, do you have anything to add to the written reports?
Yes, I do. The next Pacific region, that's the NACD Pacific region meeting, will be on February 3rd from 2:30 to 5:30 in conjunction with the NACD annual meeting. It's a virtual meeting. And then the spring fly-in, which I mentioned so much in the written report that I wrote, put it in there twice, will be a virtual, and it'll be the week of March 22nd.
And is it safe to assume that you're participating in both of those events, Doug?
Yes, it is. In fact, I should tell you guys, at the January 5th Pacific Region meeting, they elected me regional chair,
Woohoo!
which means that there's a link on the NACD website directly to Thurston CD now.
Right. Okay. If there is nothing else, there are no questions for Doug.
I have a question.
Go ahead. Let's see. I saw Helen first, and then we'll go to Betsy.
Well, mine's a pretty trivial question. I just saw that in 2022, the NACD meeting, Pacific Region meetings in Maui. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, it was supposed to be in Maui in 2020, but because COVID hit, it was postponed. And what happens is every other year we meet jointly with the Southwest region. So it's their turn in 2021. So that meeting will be in Jackson, Wyoming, which is really cool. I'd rather go to Jackson than Hawaii personally, but that's just me. And then in 2022, it'll be in Maui.
So does
And
that usually
when
include?
they nominated me to
I'm sorry.
go ahead.
Well, does that usually, like, when you go to one of those meetings, do they take you on like farm tours and things like that, or is it all
Yes, they
just business?
Yeah, yes, they do. They haven't gone to Hawaii in about 15 years. And I didn't go the last time because we were going to the county to ask for an assessment reaffirmation. And I thought, this isn't going to look good if we're going to Hawaii. And it turned out I was the only one that didn't go. So, bad move. But yeah, they're worthwhile. They're worthwhile.
Okay, Betsy, you had something?
Yeah, I was writing as fast as I can, but you said the NACD meeting is on February 3rd, and it's on the same day as.
The Pacific Region meeting is on February 3rd. It's like a sub meeting at the
Oh, okay.
NACD meeting.
Pacific
The
region.
NACD will
That's
be
what I
meeting
meant.
from the 1st through the 10th.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Some people are characterizing it as Hell Week.
Right. Thank you, Doug. Next up, partner reports is Department of Ecology, but I don't think we have anyone from Ecology here this evening.
Alina is having some trouble accessing with technology. She should be here momentarily, but she's not yet. I'm trying to help her on the back end get into the meeting.
Okay. Well, I think in interest of time, we'll move on, and when she's able to join us, we'll hear her report at that point. The final report we had after Alina was NRCS, and I don't believe we have anyone from NRCS here tonight. I don't see Robin or anyone else. Is that correct?
That's correct.
I'm wondering if maybe, Sarah, it might be a good idea for you to touch base with Robin. You know, he hasn't been here the last couple of months, and I'm sure there's a lot going on at our NRCS these days. But if he's not able to join us, getting some sort of just short summary of what's happening at NRCS, I think would be pretty helpful because of the really, strong linkages and overlap between our various agencies. So if you don't mind touching base with Robin, I'd appreciate that. I'm guessing the board would as well.
Absolutely, great idea.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right. As I said, if Alina is able to join us, we'll come back to that. But for now, let's move on to item 6 in our agenda, the COVID-19 update. Have anything for us there, Sarah?
Yeah, not much outside of what I shared at our work session. Just expecting legislation to carry through this session that's relating to OPMA. Sorry, I just got an update from Alina, and she's not able, I think, to access for some reason on her computer. So in terms of COVID-19, we reviewed the new guidance. You know, we're now in a different phased approach and assessed how that works within our own organization. It doesn't change any of the current protocols we have. We're maintaining any sort of in-office work that's necessary to perform at that 25% maximum. You know, we continue to use our smart sheet scheduling tools for that. We also have prepped and onboarded our new election staff, which I'll cover in the update later on under governance, with the COVID safety protocols and scheduling. So right now, I think we're waiting to see what types of legislation come through session, and as noted, the OPMA guidance that we've been operating under is extended until further notice, prohibiting those in-person meetings of governmental bodies and prioritizing these virtual settings.
I would like to note on that Thurston County has been approved to move into phase 2 of the regional phased reopenings as of Monday. I do not know if that will affect any of our business or operations. I'll consult with Sarah if it does, but for the most part, at least for board level engagement, that's all been done through special instructions under the OPMA that come separately from the details in the phasing. And we continue to follow the OPMA instructions.
Okay. Sarah and Ben, are there any questions on COVID update? Not seeing any. Okay. I noticed someone joined us here a minute ago. I'm going to take a chance here and see, is that Elena that joined us?
Yes, thank you. Unfortunately, I am not able to see who is talking, but thank you so much for giving me a chance to say hi. Hope everybody's having a good.
So go ahead and provide your update at this point if you'd like to, Elena.
Okay. So my first update is that our grant agreements have been granted, and those should be manifesting here in a few months now. We have only a selected candidates that have passed our evaluations. Another update for you that is directly impacting Thurston County would be now 2 of our coastal watershed non-point team members are going to be leaving us. We lost one last month, who's moved on to a different position. And then this coming month, our other coastal watershed non-point source inspector will be leaving us as well. So this means that we'll have to reprioritize the way we approach those watersheds specifically, and our unit supervisor, Sheila Markle, will be the contact for that. Last but not least, those letters that I ran by you a couple months ago, I don't know if you remember this, have been received rather well. I've been working with Karen Strelioff to coordinate responses to people's curiosities, requests, and inquiries, and we've been able to work together pretty seamlessly, and it's been a privilege to be able to do that. Any questions?
Thanks for providing reports to us. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Yeah, thank you for working through the technology and being able to join us, at least with the phone tonight. So thanks a lot.
Oh, yeah, no problem. You know, sometimes some tenacity needs to be implemented in order to make sure that I can, you know, get my updates to our partners we value.
We appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
With that, let's then move back to item 7 on our agenda, which is the 2021 WACD Legislative Week. Sarah, are you going to take the lead on this?
Yeah, I would be happy to. And then, Doug, if there's other updates and information that you'd like to share, please do. I'll start really locally with what staff has been doing to prepare for this week. Legislative week is the 8th through the 12th of February, so that's coming up here in less than 2 weeks. So of course, it's going to look a whole lot different this year than it has in the past. In terms of meetings, everything is operating in a virtual setting. Even to schedule and make meeting requests with legislators, the process has changed, and to how to request those meetings and set those up. There seems to be a lot of challenge managing a virtual legislature, which is not surprising. Absolutely, that is a whole other beast to wield in a virtual setting. So we have been sending requests to all of the legislators here within Thurston County to attempt to set up those meetings. We've had 2 of our legislators so far give us windows of time in which they're available to meet. What I would like to hear from the board is, are there particular senators or representatives that you all are interested in connecting with or meeting with during this week, and we can really prioritize connecting and setting up meetings for those. The successful individuals that we've been able to schedule a meeting with so far are Representative Lori Dolan and Representative Jessica Bateman, both from the 22nd district. There may be some scheduling conflicts with Representative Bateman in our February work session, but she's also open to meeting the week after legislative week. So if that's another option for the board as well. It sounds like they are piggybacking some meetings with Senator Sam Hunt. We're also preparing snapshots of projects and impacts on the ground here in our communities and within these legislative districts, similar to what we've done in the past, to be able to send those virtual communications that support the funding that we receive from the legislature or are funded through those means, to give everyone an eye, look at what these dollars do on the ground, and sending those, in sort of a stylized newsletter or story map format, so that they'll continue to receive those communications regardless of whether or not we're able to schedule these meetings. And that's pretty consistent as well with the information we provide them annually with sort of those reports and projects. Yeah, so that's sort of where we're at right now. Are there questions about any of that process, or are there particular legislators that any of the board is interested in meeting with?
Okay, I've got a couple things to say, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Doug.
On February 3rd, the 22nd district legislators are having an open house. So that might be something folks want to get involved in. I went to the one last year. It was at the SPSCC Lacey campus. Second item, you might have noticed that the ledge days for WACD overlap with the NACD meeting, which I pointed out, but you can see there's a conflict. So I'm going to be pretty screwed up during that time. The third thing is I'd really urge you get on Tom Salzer's 5 things to know list. You can go on the WACD website and get on that list. This issue that he just sent out yesterday has got the priorities for WACD on legislation, which bills are supporting, which ones they think aren't so good, and that sort of thing. That's done.
Thank you, Doug. So questions or comments for Sarah or Doug on this topic? Not hearing any. Okay. Sarah, I'm sure you will. Just keep us in the loop as things move forward, and particular support that you need during or coming into and during legislative week.
Thank you, TJ. I will plan to attend any and all meetings that we're able to get with the legislators that have availability to meet during that time. I will continue to send out those meeting dates and times to the board if there is board interest in attending that. And to piggyback on what Doug mentioned, Tom Salzer and WACD has a bill tracker, and weekly he will post bills that are of particular importance to conservation district work, and that you can get that from that 5 things to know sheet. This is just an example of what it looks like. I'll show you here on the screen. This was one that he published last Friday. But it talks about the different types of bills. There's one on equity and farming, which the board, I think, would find very interesting to review, as well as things about transferring water rights and environmental permitting processes. So I'm happy to, if the board is interested in any particular issue, to help track and provide information and updates as session moves forward. Thank you. Oh, Helen?
Yeah, I was kind of searching frantically around to see if I could find the bill number, but I have a vague recollection that there's some bill that improves the language about shoreline. But I can't remember what the bill number is, but it had good language. I think where they were maybe talking about moving beyond no net loss to something better. But so I'll just talk to you about it. If nobody has any recollection of a bill like that, I might just be crazy. But I'll try to find it and let you know what that bill is, because I would like to track that one.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Research.
You can come up with some information on that and share it. That'd be helpful.
Yeah.
So Helen, you said it was a shoreline one, but then you said something about no net loss.
Well, like the Shoreline Management Act, the enactment, the guidelines for that talk about assuring that there's no net loss of natural shoreline, but that's been under a lot of discussion as not being adequate. And I think the bill that takes on some of that language and tries to make it better.
Okay, thank you.
Sarah, you may have said this and I just missed it. All the meetings with the legislators will be virtual, I'm assuming, through GoToMeeting or Zoom.
Yeah, that's correct. All of the meetings will be virtual and scheduled through their platforms, through their staff. So we will receive meeting links and then access through those means. And as those meetings are scheduled, I'll make sure that the board has those. And then it would be great if we could communicate about interest from the board too, so that we avoid any sort of OPMA conflict with having multiple supervisors participate.
Thank
We
you.
will leave it up to you, Sarah, to coordinate that to ensure that we're in compliance with OPMA.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. If there's nothing else on that topic, we will move on to item 8. First, item 8A is an update on our 2021 election.
Great. Yes. So our 2021 election is moving forward very well. We're very excited with where we're at right now. One of the biggest points of interest is that our candidate filing window deadline has passed. So that section of the elections process, it has ended. We have had only one candidate file for the position, and that is Helen. There is still the potential to receive write-in candidate votes. And what's new in the WACs this year is that write-in candidates, if they receive a majority of the votes, they may still file their candidate paperwork afterwards within 28 days after the election and will be found eligible to serve. So that's a change. Again, around write-in candidates. We hired 2 temporary staff to serve as polling officers in this election. We received 11 applications for those 2 positions. And after doing interviews, I just have to say we had excellent qualified candidates. It was very hard to narrow it down. And so we're very excited to welcome our 2 polling officers who have served in and around elections capacities in the past. A lot of our applicants either served in our local county elections process or other county elections processes, and several had a lot of training and participation with the state auditor's office. So we're really excited to welcome these folks aboard. They will start February 5th. So as far as ballots and voting goes, our ballot materials are out for printing right now. We will have all of those materials ready by February 8th to begin fulfilling those ballot requests. So the time frame for that is that folks have already started to email and call, and so Nora has set up that specific email address and phone line to receive those ballot requests, so that it is ready to start receiving folks. Though we will be responsive as of February 8th, and so we have the appropriate phone and email messages to let folks know when that ballot request window starts, and of course whatever messages are received to that date will be fulfilled beginning that date. So that is the process that we're looking at moving forward. And any thoughts or questions? Things are moving along very well.
Helen, I see your hand. Go ahead.
Yeah, so there are people chomping at the bit a little bit to be able to vote, and I had communicated with, I can't remember if I communicated with you and with Nora about the message that's bouncing back is an old one from an earlier election. Has that been fixed or changed to your knowledge? Or
yes, so both the phone extension voicemail and the auto response that we have in place through February 8th are updated to this year's election. Thank you for letting us know with that individual that was submitting that inquiry last week.
Yeah, thanks.
Are there any
Just like to
glitches or any issues
give a
of concern?
reminder to board members that in our capacity as board members, we cannot advocate for or against any particular candidates, but we certainly can let people know that this election is happening and share with them the process for requesting ballots and encourage the community to participate. So just a reminder that we have some parameters and some sideboards on what we can do as supervisors in terms of the election.
Question for Sarah.
Hi,
Are there
Doug.
any glitches or any concerns whatsoever?
No, no, everything has been moving forward just really well. It's very similar to the process that we had in our 2020 election. So we've sort of already navigated that and have been able to continue to build off of that mechanism and that method. Any of the WAC changes that have occurred for this year's election, our staff has a really good handle on. So no, things are moving forward really well. And we are just continuing to, now that our election or our ballot request process or period of time is about to start, making sure that we do a lot of outreach to get the word out there about our voting period that's open.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. With that, then, let's move on to item B under governance, which is district representation to committee meetings, in this case, the Thurston Regional Planning Council. You probably all saw that Sarah sent out an email the other day that started with David, sort of asking the question of whether we would like David to continue to be sort of dual representative to TRPC, representing both the tribe and TRPC, and TCD. And I suggested that we take a couple minutes and talk about that tonight, not because I have any particular concerns about David doing dual representation, but if there are other members of the board that would like to have that experience of being a representative to TRPC, it would give us, two people at those meetings who are familiar with district operations, and that might be a benefit to the district. But just wanted to put that out there and see what people thought about it. So it's open for discussion at this point. And I see Doug. Go ahead, Doug. Oh, sorry. Let's go with David first, and then we'll come to Doug.
Sorry, Doug.
No
I just wanted to say that, I just got an email the other day from TRPC staff wanting to update their roles for this upcoming year. And it reminded me that I know some other people had some interest in this position as well. I definitely am all for it. I got on TRPC mainly to represent the tribe in the first place. And I really enjoyed the Regional Planning Commission. And I don't give the Conservation District as much attention as I should. So it would definitely be helpful if there was another member that wanted to be on there. Definitely, I'm all for that. So.
Thanks, David. I think, Doug, you were next.
Yeah, I appreciate David trying to do the dual stuff. It just seems more appropriate to me that you choose, and I'd go with the tribe because Helen has expressed an interest. And I think another aspect of this is we ought to have an alternate for our representative. And that should be, I think, either one of the other board members.
Okay, thank you. Helen, since your name came up there, do you want to speak to this issue?
Yes, I would be more than happy to serve in that capacity. So it's a good opportunity for me to learn. And I think as you said, TJ, the more representation, the better.
Thanks, Helen. I served on TRPC for a number of years when I was a member of the Olympia City Council, and it is a fascinating group, and I think it's really great that we are, as an agency, back engaged in that process again. And I'm certainly all for having Helen be our representative, and thank you for being willing to do that. I think probably the way to move this forward at this point would be if someone wants to make a motion.
I make a motion that we appoint Helen Wheatley to be the Thurston Conservation District representative at the TRPC.
Moved by Doug. Is there a second?
I second it.
Seconded by Betsy. If there's no further discussion on this, let's take a roll call vote. Doug?
Aye.
Betsy?
Aye.
David?
Aye.
Helen?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. So that's unanimous. We've now selected Helen as our representative. Now, coming back to Doug's point, for an alternate, is there any other board member that would be interested in serving as an alternate for Helen?
Like you, TJ, I used to be on the TRPC representing the district. I thought it was a good way for the district to get involved with local government entities. If no one else wanted to be the alternate, I certainly would be able to do that. But I'd like to be like the third or fourth tier down. If somebody else has got a burning desire to do it, I'm fine with that. I should throw out, I got another suggestion, and that is after meetings like the TRPC, I would really appreciate like a half-page write-up of what happened, similar to what I do for the WACD and NACD reports. Nothing in depth, but kind of what's going on, what's coming up. Very short.
That's a great suggestion. David, is TRPC still meeting on Friday mornings?
Yes.
Okay. Given that I can't offer myself as an alternate, that doesn't work for me, which then I guess, unless you're interested, Betsy, Doug has volunteered.
I was wondering, is it at all appropriate to include one of our, well, we only have one right now, an associate supervisor? Is this a role they could fill?
I'm already on the TRPC representing the PUD. So actually you have already two people there in the sense that I'm an associate member, but I'm representing the PUD. And this is Chris, your associate member who finally got to your meeting along with the volunteer who was talking to me on some other line and realized that we were on the wrong line for this meeting.
Well,
maybe this will help. What time on Fridays does the TRPC meet?
It meets 9:30 to 11 generally. The meetings have grown shorter over time. They used to be all the way to 12. I mean, 8:30 to 11, excuse me. They used to go to 12, now they only go to about 11.
Well, if they start at 8:30, that precludes me. I have every Friday at 7:30 till about 9, a WACD call with the executive committee.
Okay, so Doug's out. Do you have any interest, Betsy?
I think not.
Well,
I think,
then,
I think it's the three of us. Sorry.
Process of elimination, assuming we want a board member as an alternate, maybe we could, if he's willing, ask David to serve as an alternate for those weeks when Helen isn't able to attend. Would you be willing to do that, David?
Sure.
Okay, so David's willing. If someone would like to make a motion in that direction to move us along here.
So
I move that we appoint David. Go ahead.
I think Helen got the motion, so I'll take yours, Doug, as a second, if that's okay.
Yeah, fine.
Okay. Moved by Helen, seconded by Doug to appoint David to be Helen's alternate to TRPC. So with the roll call vote, Helen?
Aye.
Doug?
Aye.
David?
Aye.
Betsy?
Aye.
And chair votes aye. Okay, thank you. So we now have a delegate and an alternate to TRPC. Great.
I have a question.
Get the reports.
Yes, Betsy.
I see that there's the caller number one turned into Elena, and now there's another caller, and I'd like to know who that is.
Yeah, let me straighten that out because I think I know who everyone on the call is now. So we've been joined by Chris Stearns, who we just heard from, Associate Supervisor, Jay Kreinitz is on the call. Jay has applied to be an
Right.
associate supervisor. We got his letter recently. And then I see we've got Robin Buckingham from NRCS who's joined us as well. If it's okay with all of you, I'd like to get through our work session topic list here and then ask Robin to give a little update from NRCS. Is that okay? Great. So welcome to all you folks for being here. So let's then tackle this 8C work session topic list. We had a draft topic list in our packets, which is now right in front of us here, courtesy of Sarah. Any other additions or changes to that? Helen?
I just had a question, or maybe it's an addition. So there's going to be a presentation on RIA 13. Okay, well, first of all, do we say WIRA or RIA 13? Any preference for that? Because I heard it both ways. Chris, do you know? Anyway.
This is
Yeah.
Doug. I have really strong feelings about that. I helped set up the process with a guy named John Milholland a long time ago, and we always called it WIRAS. I know it. What I've told people is it's Welsh.
Okay.
That's why
WIRA.
it looks funny.
So we're gonna go with the Welsh pronunciation.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
the way it's
know.
usually
I'm going to
pronounced.
be
don't
one of
really
those
care.
people that's
I don't really
got the
care.
inside knowledge and
Thank you
use
for your
WIRA
help.
then. Anyway, in regard to WIRA 13, Watershed Restoration Enhancement Committee, is there any opportunity connected with that to hear about the status of the Capitol Lake, the forthcoming EIS? Is that wrapped in there, or is that an entirely separate thing? Because it seems like it's getting fairly close, is it not, to some movement on that?
Yeah, that is an entirely separate thing, but I would be happy to organize a presentation on that in addition to this. And I could work to get a presentation at this work session or the upcoming board meeting, or at least a status update sent to the board. This particular presentation is about a plan, as part of all of these restoration and enhancement committees, they're sort of charged to create a plan to manage water availability, right? And so this presentation is going to go a little bit into what exactly that is, why we're doing that, the district's role in that, because we sit formally on this committee as the agricultural representative. The plan is complete now. We have a final draft that will go out next week to all of the organizations that sit on the committee. So this is to inform the board about that plan, where it's at in its completion, and give the board a heads up that now they're asking for all of the representative organizations to approve and adopt this plan formally. And then what the timeline is for that, because it'll be something that goes before the full board to vote on and consider adoption of, so that the full committee can then formally adopt it by April.
Okay, so I would, if I could suggest then, Sarah, for now, maybe we could get a short written update on the lake issue. And then if that's insufficient, then we schedule that for a future presentation or discussion at an upcoming board or work session. Is that okay with you, Helen?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. All right. I would like to make one proposed addition to our work session topic list. So shortly, in a few minutes, we're going to move into an executive session to discuss the associate supervisor policy and qualifications of candidates for appointment to office. I want to have a good discussion at this next work session about our Citizens Advisory Committee and our associate supervisor system. I continue to be concerned that there's overlap and duplicity on paper between the two, and in reality, we haven't done anything with one of those groups. So if we could put that on the next work session, spend some time on that, I think it would be useful. Any objections to that from board?
No, it sounds good.
Okay, great, thank you. Anything else anyone wants to add to this next work session?
Yes, a quick legislative update.
Okay.
That might be really short.
Put ledge update on there. We will use this as our draft topic list, and if something comes up between now and then, we can certainly modify this. Okay, so with that, I think we're done with item 8, and before we move into executive session, since we now have Robin here, maybe, Robin, you could give us an update on what's happening in NRCS.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Sorry for being a little late. I think I had the wrong login information here tonight, but thanks for making a little bit of time. Big updates on the NRCS side of the fence are that we will have a new soil conservationist joining our team here in the next week, actually. So that's pretty exciting. Aaron Gutierrez has been a part of our Pathways program for the past 2 years, I believe, and will be transitioning into the role of assisting landowners in Thurston County access funding through NRCS programs. So super excited about that. Have a little bit more capacity in-house, and I will definitely invite her along to these meetings in the future just to introduce herself so you all are familiar with her.
What's her first name?
Erin.
Erin, thank you.
Yes. And then the other big news is that our equip round is moving right along. Our ranking will be conducted here at the end of February, February 26th. Got about $320,000 moving forward to ranking. We'll see what comes out of that as far as actual funded projects, but a fairly healthy round of equip moving forward. Excited about that. Projects kind of ranging from super popular high tunnel program, lots of forestry represented in this round, as well as some other water quality related projects, manure storage, and grazing improvements, that kind of stuff. So excited to move forward on that. We should know who's getting funded by that first week of March, and we'll be off to the races from there to get folks contracted to get some conservation on the ground for this round, hopefully sometime early summer. And then after that portion of the equip round is finished, we'll be rolling right along into our conservation stewardship program announcement that will come out probably around the end of February as well, and folks will have about a month to establish eligibility and take advantage of that program. And don't know what the further dates for the program will be at this point, but I can share that in a future meeting. And then you all should have seen the ASEP ALE sign up go out here in the last 2 weeks, I think it was. And any of those land trust entities that are looking to move forward, folks interested in easements can pay special attention to that. I think the state office has guided most of those land trusts to work directly with them. I think that workload will still come back to us a little bit, so we'll be continuing to help at the field level with ASEP, moving that forward. That's pretty much all I had on the updates for tonight. Unless anybody has questions for me, I'll let you guys get to executive session.
Any questions for Robin? Robin, I have one.
Sure.
I know that we don't have a new Secretary of Agriculture yet. His confirmation hearing is tomorrow morning, as a matter of fact. But I'm wondering if you're getting any sense of anything afoot or any changes coming this way as a result of the change in administration. I know friends in other federal resource agencies are already starting to see things on the ground in terms of new personnel and new direction. So is anything like that happened at NRCS?
Nothing of note as thus far. Of course, Secretary Vilsack will be in an interesting position because he's been the Secretary of Agriculture before, and we're not aware of who our chief will be as yet either. But I'm sure that'll develop, and I'm happy to give some more updates as that starts to unfold here over the next couple months.
Yeah. Thank you. And anyone who's interested in either watching the Vilsack confirmation hearing, it's tomorrow morning on C-SPAN. I think it starts at 9 o'clock, 7:30 our time. And certainly there's a lot of information going around now encouraging people to weigh in with our senators about whether or not Mr. Vilsack should be confirmed for a second term. So if you haven't paid attention to that, you may want to look into that and weigh in. Okay, with that, we are going to move into the first two executive sessions. Our first executive session is to discuss our associate supervisor's policy. This executive session is pursuant to RCW 42.30.110H, where we're allowed to evaluate the qualifications of candidates for appointment, etc. And based on council's advice last time, this is legitimate discussion for executive session. I expect we will spend around no more than 10 minutes in this executive session. That's the time that we've allotted. We will make no decisions in that executive session. When the executive session ends, I will come back into this public meeting and announce that that session has ended and what comes out of that. And then I will announce that we will then be going into a second executive session. The second executive session will last probably, again, no more than 10 minutes. That executive session is to review ongoing litigation with our legal counsel. Both of these executive sessions, participants will be all members of the Board of Supervisors, our executive director, Sarah Moorhead, and our counsel, Mr. Cushman. Following the two executive sessions, we will come back into this public meeting space and we will continue with the remainder of our agenda. So with that, Sarah, have you sent us all a link for this executive session?
I have.
Okay, then let's bow out of this one. Let's make sure you close out of here so we don't have that overlapping audio thing again. And then we'll see you in the executive session. And those of you that want to hang here, we'll be back in about 10 minutes. I'll be back in about 10 minutes.